I'm in my engine room working on this 440 Max Wedge to install this cross-ram Max Wedge intake manifold.
The phrase 440 Max Wedge lights up imaginations instantly. It sounds raw, rebellious, almost outlaw. But when you dig into Mopar archives, factory documents, and dragstrip records, a surprising truth appears. Chrysler never built a factory 440 Max Wedge. The fusion of the legendary Max Wedge program and the street-friendly 440 Big Block is an enthusiast-created myth, not an official Detroit product. To understand why the myth grew so big, we have to go back to the roots of Mopar engineering. Chrysler's performance story began long before muscle cars. During World War II, the company's aircraft engine research gave them unmatched understanding of airflow and combustion. Their experimental Tortorno 22-20 inverted V16 aircraft engine tested hemispherical heads and high-flow combustion chambers, technology that would later define Chrysler's high-performance DNA. Those ideas evolved into the 331 firepower Hemi in 1951. An engine that shocked the auto world when the Chrysler C300 hit 300 horsepower in 1955. But hemispherical heads were expensive to produce, so in 1958 Chrysler switched to wedge-shaped chambers. These wedge heads fit onto a new heavy-duty big block family, the B and RB engines. Strong, scalable architectures that soon grew into larger displacements, like the 383 413 and eventually the 426. In the early 1960s, Chrysler engineers began experimenting with radical intake systems, including long-runner cross-ram intakes with carburetors perched high above the engine. These designs used pressure waves to boost low-end torque and were soon applied to full-performance programs. That work set the stage for one of the most aggressive factory performance engines America had ever seen, the Max Wedge. In April 1962, Chrysler launched the Maximum Performance Wedge, a race-bred engine installed in factory B-body Plymouths and Dodges. The early Max Wedge was based on a 413 RB block with extreme compression, forged internals, wild cross-ram manifolds, and a factory rating of 410 to 420 horsepower. Chrysler's Ram Chargers and underground performance teams engineered them purely for dragstrip domination, though they remained technically street legal. They wasted no time proving themselves. In July 1962, the Plymouth Melrose missile shocked the racing world by running 11.93 seconds at almost 119 miles per hour right off the showroom floor. This was the birth of true factory muscle. Racing rules shifted fast. In 1963, the NHRA imposed a 427 cubic inch cap for superstock, so Chrysler enlarged the bore to create the 426 Max Wedge. It offered 415 and 425 horsepower versions and kept hammering competition. Stage 2 refinements arrived later that year, with improved heads and camshafts, producing mid-11-second quarter-mile runs. By 1964, the Stage 3 Max Wedge represented the peak of wedge engine aggression, capable of low 11-second passes at over 120 miles per hour. These cars were technically street legal, but everything about them screamed drag-strip weapon. Chrysler offered aluminum front ends, heavy-duty torque converters, trunk-mounted batteries, and extremely limited 4-speed options. Just 61 Dodges and 65 Plymouths in 1964. But while the Max Wedge was terrorizing drag strips, Chrysler's engineers were preparing their next move, a return to the Hemi. In 1964, the 426 Hemi arrived with hemispherical heads and unmatched airflow. NASCAR politics forced Chrysler to expand production and create a street version for 1966. Once the street Hemi hit the scene, Chrysler shifted its performance priorities. Insurance pressure, drag racing rule changes, emissions oversight, and corporate strategy all contributed to the official end of the Max Wedge program in 1964. But the story didn't end there. In 1966, Chrysler introduced a new RB big block that would become one of the most beloved engines in American muscle car history, the 440. With a 4.3 2-inch bore and 3.75-inch stroke, the 440 delivered wide, usable torque and strong horsepower while still being reliable, streetable, and compliant with tightening regulations. In its Magnum and Super Commando versions, it made 365 to 375 horsepower, and the later six-pack setups pushed output to 390 horsepower. The 440 powered everything from Chargers, GTXS, Cudas, and Roadrunners to full-size Chryslers, police cars, trucks, and RVs. It wasn't meant to be a drag strip specialist. It was meant to be Mopar's all-purpose performance workhorse. And it succeeded brilliantly, remaining in production until 1978. So where did the 440 Max Wedge myth come from? It came from garages, not Chrysler. Mopar enthusiasts began swapping Max Wedge heads, intakes, and internals onto 440 blocks. These hybrid engines made incredible power because they combined the huge flow Max Wedge top end with the bigger displacement of the 440. Builders started calling these creations 440 Max Wedges. And over time, the nickname spread across magazines, forums, drag strips, and even aftermarket catalogs. People loved the sound of it so much that it eventually felt like something Chrysler must have built. But they didn't. No regulation banned a 440 Max Wedge. No brochure ever listed one. It never existed as a factory offering. The Max Wedge ended at 426 cubic inches. The 440 arrived later with a different purpose entirely. Today, original Max Wedge cars from 1962 to 1964 are prized for their raw engineering and scarcity. Only about 3,000 engines were ever built. Meanwhile, the 440 remains one of the most popular big blocks for restorations and performance builds. Even mild 440 rebuilds easily hit 350 horsepower, and ported heads can push them past 475 without stress. Modern builders still love combining 440 blocks with Max Wedge heads and intakes to recreate the look and attitude of the early drag machines. These hybrids keep the legend alive, but they remain enthusiast inventions, not factory heritage. And that brings us to the real heart of the myth's endurance. People love the idea of maximum Mopar power, the brutal, drag-tuned personality of the Max Wedge fused with the big displacement strength of the 440. The phrase 440 Max Wedge feels too perfect, too powerful, too iconic to ignore. Even if it never rolled out of a Chrysler assembly line, it became real in the places that matter most: garages, racetracks, magazines, and the imaginations of generations of Mopar fans. In the world of muscle car legends, myths aren't mistakes. They're part of the culture. The Max Wedge and the 440 each shaped Mopar's identity in different ways. One as a factory-built drag warrior, the other as a versatile everyday powerhouse. The mythical 440 Max Wedge simply merges those two worlds. Knowing the truth doesn't spoil the story, it enriches it. Because in Mopar history, as in all great American automotive legends, the line between fact and folklore is thin, and the passion behind both is what keeps the legacy alive.